ready? We're on.
Let's call this regular monthly board meeting, committee meeting to order. Superintendent Voce, would you lead us in the pledge? And Mr. Egan, would you lead us? Mr. England, would you lead us in the pledge?
Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening mindful of the season and thankful for the many blessings you continue to bestow upon our school district. We are grateful for the hard work of our administrators, teachers, support staff, and students that have brought us recognition as one of the top school districts in the state. And as we break for our Thanksgiving holidays, we ask two things. First, that you be with those in our family who are traveling and return them safely to us at the end of the break, and also that you watch after our students and keep them safe during this time. We also ask for special blessings for the people and the families and the tragedy which has occurred in Parish, and know that we are all together in sending our support and our thoughts and our prayers their way. Give us all pause to remember that many ways in which we are blessed. These things we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Superintendent Voce, would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Acevedo is not with us. Mr. Campbell?
Here.
Mr. Egan?
Here.
Mr. England?
Here.
Mrs. Lemoyne?
Here.
Mrs. Dysart?
Here.
Dr. Kraft? Dr. Lewis is not with us. Mr. Long?
Here.
Mr. Nikosha is not with us this evening. Mr. Warner?
Here. Ms. Benzac, do we have anyone signed up for community concerns?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. We move forward with the agenda. Item 5, motion to incorporate the report of the General Committee meeting into the minutes of the November regular monthly meeting minutes. Motion by Mr. Warner, second by Mr. England. Okay, any questions relative to the report in the meeting minutes? Hearing none, vote your machines.
Motion passes 8-0.
Item 6, personnel changes for the month of November, and that's under item 6.
You have in your folder any personnel changes occurring within the last week. And just a reminder that the request for leaves without pay, we need a motion for that acceptance.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I would-
Ms. Dysart, you make the motion.
I would so move we accept the personnel changes with the leaves without pay.
Leave without pay. Okay, second by Ms. Lemoyne. Vote your machines.
Motion passes 8-0.
Moving on to item 7, motion to approve the administration's recommendation for telecommunications services.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Long, second by Mr. Warner. Okay. Any questions relative to this? We have people waiting in the wings to answer any questions you might have. Hearing none, vote your machines.
Motion passes 8-0.
Item 8, motion to approve the lowest bidder on the bid tabulation for spices and seasonings. Class 2, cereal, dried beans, and crackers. Class 3, frozen foods. Class 5, meat and meat products. Class 6, poultry and eggs. Class 7, seafood products. Class 8, and canned goods. Class 9. There was a recommendation by the committee. Motion by Mr. England, second by Mr. Campbell. Any questions relative to this? We have Ms. Bloom here. We went over this quite thoroughly in the committee meetings, so hearing no questions, vote your machines.
Motion passes 8-0.
Item 9, motion to approve the administration's recommendation for site preparation for Merrill Elementary School. There was a recommendation by the committee. Ms. Dysart?
Dr. Kraft, I would so move that we grant the site demolition as based on the bid tabulation to Cycle Construction Company. It is the lowest bid.
Okay, the lowest bid. Second by Ms. Lemoyne. Any question relative to this? Hearing none, vote your machines.
Motion passes 8-0.
Okay, we down to the items to be placed on the agenda for next committee meeting. Okay, you have time to send that in before we will meet, the committee meeting. Will that be the first week or second week of?
Second week.
Second week, and then we'll follow that up with the regular board meeting on the third week because of the Christmas holidays, as we did this with the Thanksgiving holidays.
I got, Dr. Kraft, before we move on.
Yes.
I got a construction project in my district. Can we get an update on that? It doesn't have to be to December, January, whenever you can fit it in on that auxiliary building by Shaman High
Okay.
in the next 2-3 months, whenever.
Okay, any other
Thank you.
items? Okay. Okay, we have superintendent's recommendation about the special meetings. Superintendent's evaluation will be coming up for that.
Just a reminder that we will have a special meeting for the superintendent's evaluation prior to the committee meeting on the second Tuesday in December. Also, the testing results for 3rd through 8th grade, the test that the kids took way last spring, we finally got
from the State
we finally
Department.
got the results from the State Department, and we sent them home to the parents today, along with a letter of explanation from the State Department and a letter with some information on it about parent resources to go to if they had questions concerning test results, interpretations, study issues, or such. And of course, always saying that if you have any specific questions, please call your child's teacher or principal, and I'll be happy to meet with you and discuss those particular results. But just realizing we are well into the new school year, and those particular results were just a moment in time, one day, as to how your children did on a specific assessment. And those results will be useful for the rest of the school year to help us identify some areas where we need some improvement. But also, we're hoping that in this state we can get to the point where results are received much more quickly, so they will be more meaningful for the basic purpose of driving the instructional program. So if you have a 4th through 9th grader who took the test last year in grades 3 through 8, then you can expect those results home this evening with your child.
Dr. Kraft?
Yes, Ms. Dodson.
Yes, on that same note, we talked about it, I think at the committee meeting, that we were going to send a resolution to the state asking for the test scores to be sent sooner,
Well,
so that we
yeah,
could use them
I'd
as a
recommend that.
diagnostic.
Yeah. In other words, you diagnose, you profit from your mistakes. Teachers do it all the time. They give the test back, you know what's on it, you know what you missed or what they say you missed, and we need to be able to profit from mistakes. And if we can develop a resolution to send to the state and all the stakeholders around the state, the other superintendents and school board members, I think this would be worthy, and ask them to do the same. We send it to the State Department, the BC Board, because they can allow this to take place. Because if you know, all we know is what someone says we've missed on this, and that's not adequate. We need to know the problems that was given, because in this day of high-speed computers, it's no reason they can't have enough data in their test bank that they can shuffle all kind of problems and give at different years. You don't have to give the same test. And this way, students and the teachers will know what is missed. And if we can do this and get that going, but we've got to get some steam behind it, where the parents will know this is the only fair thing to do, is help these students profit from mistakes. Now, as you well know, we've seen some sample test questions, and as far as I'm concerned, as a long-term educator, they are suspect. They are really suspect, and I have no reservations in saying that, because when I taught, which was just a few years ago, you do a test item analysis, and a greater percent of the people would miss that. You'd throw it out. Don't count it in, because it could have been ill constructed. Because I can grant you, you or anyone else in teaching can definitely construct a test that very few people would pass it. And we don't want that to take place in this national arena where it's coming from, that they can do a number on you because the way they construct the test and what the answers will be. We need to know where we can evaluate it. Was it fair? Was it an effective test? So if we can construct that in a way for a resolution and get people behind this in the educational arena, from the local to the statewide arena, then I think the students will be better protected from tests. As I've always said, one score should not define the successes of a student that's going forward. Everybody has different talents. They're not all the same. We're not going to educate everybody to be rocket scientists. Thank God they won't all turn out to be rocket scientists. But the United States of America has been strong. It's been effective. Public education has made that contribution. Who put the first man on the moon? Those people that they want us to mimic them in their educational arena? No. We've done fine. We've done a diversified educational placement for students once they leave high school and going into college or to career. We don't have to apologize for that. And we just need to insist on things being right, being fair, being effective. Yes.
Dr. Kraft, I would suggest that we place this resolution on the agenda for the next committee meeting,
Okay.
as we discussed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very
And
much.
so we will construct a resolution talking about earlier return of test data and also release of test items.
Yeah.
Just for informational purposes, we have had a lengthy discussion about return of test data. The testing cycle for this year for the 3rd through 8th graders, they will be taking the statewide assessment the last week in April this year, and the results are coming back over the summer. So we're supposed to have them before school starts. By nature of the test, there's more constructed response and essay writing. So the grading of those types of tests, you can't get the immediate feedback because it has to go through multiple graders at that point. So the old multiple choice, easily quick scored questions no longer exist in the lives of our students. So the testing
So those are
mechanism, the
subject-
grading mechanism is much more, the rubric for the grading is much more complex, and children are expected to write more and analyze more as they take these assessments. But we're supposed to get them back over the summertime in late July or early August, supposedly, as they take them the last week in April this year. But we will construct a resolution making sure that those 2 points are in it for you, the early return of results, as well as the release of the test items.
Okay. Yes, Mr. England.
On another subject. Okay. I heard some things in the wind about the inventory taxes in Baton Rouge. Are they discussing to cut the inventory tax that would affect the school systems then?
Well, the Revenue Estimating Conference, as we know, meets 3 or 4 times a year over the course of the fiscal year. And the state budgets need to be adjusted in line with what that conference determines the projected revenues for the state will be.
Right.
Well, they just met and came out with a very, I guess, bleak forecast, looking at a significant gap in the current year's budget that will have to be addressed by the administration within this fiscal year, and then an even bigger one for the next fiscal year, because we all know the budget that was passed in Baton Rouge this summer. Many things were done, and smoke and mirrors and such, and they came out with a balanced budget, but
Right.
it really was not.
Right.
So, the word is whichever candidate wins for governor, that one of the first things they both have pledged is to call a special session to address those issues, both the current year and next year's. At that point, everything's going to be on the table, tax credits, tax breaks, all kinds of things, and I would assume that inventory tax or the repeal of such will resurrect itself again as part of someone's solution. So you're right, Mr. England, we have to be very vigilant, because that is something that would be very destructive not only to the local school system, but to all the local
That's right.
agencies.
That's right.
The sheriff's department, parish government, everyone.
Right, so in effect, what we should be doing, well, coming up soon, is send resolutions or whatever to the state that, you know, in support of keeping it like it is, right, at the present time.
Good.
So you're
Okay.
going to keep us up to date with this?
Yes, we will.
Okay.
I think things will clear up a little, well, will begin to clear up a little bit after the election Saturday. And then I think, only from what I read in the newspaper, our current governor, Jindal's administration, has said that they intend to propose measures to fix the current budget with whatever proposed cuts will have to occur. Don't know if that will materialize, or
Right.
if it'll be left to the new governor and legislature to, which I think it probably will, to address that both in the short term, being this
Sure.
fiscal year, and the long term for next fiscal year and beyond.
Right.
So I think we'll begin to see a great deal of activity after this election as to how whoever the winner is going to be is going to approach this. So.
Yeah, because the impact's going to be on everybody.
Oh, yeah, everybody. Well, in all honesty, if there is a 300 million, 500 million gap this fiscal year, and by law they have to close it, and with all the protections in the state budget, and for right now, you know, the MFP is protected,
Right.
but higher ed and healthcare always takes the brunt. I don't know how much more they can take. Now, at any time, the governor can declare a situation where he would do an across the budget 1 to 1.5% cut, even on the protected funds. And to the MFP, that would be over, a 1% reduction would be over $300 million right there.
Right.
You know, so that's a possibility. It's been talked about before. But if every agency, even the protected funds, was an across-the-board 1%, it would affect, you know, our allocation. Our allocation is somewhere around 30 million, so that would be about a $300,000 cut to us for a 6-month period, which would be significant.
Right, oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Ogier.
Yes, I believe what they did, they estimated the price of a barrel of oil for the taxes coming back for $61, and of course, as you know, it's been hovering around $43 per barrel, and if you look at that difference, that's a substantial. So I don't know how they're doing business as far as they've gotten here to almost this half, because the fiscal year began July the 1st, so something's being put off somewhere, and of course, somewhere we got to pay the fiddler. And that's looming ahead as far as I'm concerned. Going back to the test, you say there's some subjective material in there, and they have to let different people look over this in the evaluation. What percent of the test is in the subjective mountain categories? Do you know?
Well, that's really hard to say, because there are, by law, this coming year's park test is supposed to be made up of not more than 49% park items and the other 51% by the vendor that is supposed to be addressing standards. We were told that the 49% park test items would be more of the constructed responses, the essay, the ones that are worth multiple points. So I asked the question, well, are you saying then that 49% of the items will be worth more than 49% of the score? And he hemmed and hawed and said, well, yeah, probably. So I'm not sure if our representatives who pass that legislation realizes that, because I think the intent was to make it 49%, less than half. However, the other 51% of the items will be addressing the standards, and it might be taken from Smarter Balance or some other test bank. But that 49%, which is park, I'm pretty confident it's going to be worth more like 50, 60, 70% of the actual score. The next question that I asked at the time when we were having this discussion is, well, if that's the case, part of the reason we were going to this testing, this assessment, was for our students to be able to be compared on a national basis. So if our students are only taking 49% of the items are going to be park, how then would we compare our students to those in other states? In other words, would a level 3, which we call basic, be comparable to a level 3 in a different state? Or would we only grade, for comparability purposes, 49% of the test as opposed to the whole 100%? So I was told the kids will get the score in the 100%, and we may not be able to really do a comparison on a student-by-student basis. But they feel because of the anchor items, they call them, the common items across states, then you could do a statewide comparison. So you could say something like the fourth graders in Louisiana in comparison to fourth graders in another state.
Well, how many
You could
states
draw
are involved?
those. Well, there are fewer and fewer at this
12,
point from
I
what I
believe,
was reading.
is
It's
that
even
right?
going to be less. We're going to take the full park assessment this coming year.
So,
And then, so you then can't say that if your child scored at level 3, which is comparable to basic in Louisiana, and some other child in Massachusetts scored at a level 3, that it would be comparable. So this, I'm telling you, I don't have a lot of confidence in the reliability and validity of what we are actually saying is occurring, but it is the operation under which we are, the system under which we are operating at this point, and it is in its infancy. But after this testing cycle and the review standards committee comes out with the, quote, the new Louisiana standards, then there'll be an RFP put out long-term for testing over a multiple-year period, and at that point we would hope to get some clarity in where we're heading and the type of assessments that we're going to be taking.
talking about
We change every year. That's the part of the problem.
Massachusetts and the East, they speak a different lingo, and if they use that in the wording for these tests, we're at an extreme disadvantage, wouldn't you think? So that's why I want to see the test items, how they word them, and the vocabulary they use in different parts of the country. But if we're going to compare apples with apples, then all states should be in the test that we're administering for the students and that we're evaluating to see basically how our students, because you can do a number of things such as this, and I don't like that. Yeah.
Okay.
One more thing, I don't know if you're aware, I was watching television, and our wonderful governor has pulled out of the presidential race.
He
Oh,
pulled-
did he?
Oh,
It was on the news
how
right
sad.
Before I left. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Ready to
Oh,
adjourn?
that means that he'll spend the rest of his term here in Louisiana and not be somewhere else.
Kind of wish he wouldn't have pulled out.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was serious about running for president.
He was. Mr. Populist wasn't.
Oh, he got the word. All right. Anything else?
I move we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, nay. We stand adjourned. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Y'all, listen one second.